So today we're reviewing
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ant-Man and the Wasp teaming up.
Follow my lead.
So Ant-Man and the Wasp picks up after the events of Captain America's Civil War, where Paul Rudd as Ant-Man is under house arrest. And that's about where it picks up. I mean, there's certain things there's spoilers we can't talk about in this movie, but what are your initial thoughts of this movie?
Definitely liked it. Going in, it was definitely, I knew it was the second movie, or the first movie since the Avengers Infinity War, which obviously, this is not a spoiler anymore since that movie's already been out. So spoiler warning, you haven't seen Infinity War yet. Thanos wins and wipes out half of humanity, so you're thinking, and you don't see Ant-Man in that movie at all, or the Wasp, and you basically just don't really know what's going on. You do hear him say he's on house arrest, that's all you know. So it's kind of interesting to see what happens, like when it's taking place, and like what's going on in the rest of the world in that Marvel universe. So going in, I wasn't expecting too much of like a huge movie. I mean, I was definitely expecting like a smaller scale story and more humor because there's a lot of funny characters in the movie, and I thought that it delivered in almost everything I expected going in.
Yeah, this movie, I mean, I wasn't really that excited for it. I mean, I had to be completely honest. I was not excited. I mean, I was going to go see this movie, but I was not totally excited for it. And walking out, I thought it was decent. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible, but there's a lot of good things, but then I have certain negatives about it, but it was decent, and why don't we just get into our positives, the big positives.
I mean, definitely, like almost everyone else is saying, this other movies, the action I thought was good. There's no like one scene that I'll remember like other movies. Like there's certain scenes you like think about or talking about for a while and want to watch over and over again. There's a lot of good fight sequences, but nothing like over the top great. I thought there was a lot of the humor, almost probably I'd say 90% of the humor worked. People in our theater were losing it.
I know.
But I mean, there's a lot of funny characters. I don't know what his, or Luis.
Yeah, Luis.
Luis, I liked his character a lot. Him and his friends are always funny. Ant-Man has a lot of funny lines. There's a lot of good moments between him and his daughter.
Paul Rudd is definitely one of the glaring positives. Paul Rudd and, I forget what her name, Evangeline.
Oh, the Wasp.
Yeah, the Wasp.
Hope.
Evangeline Lilly. Yeah, Hope. No, Ant-Man and the Wasp are definitely the biggest positives in this movie. They're both really good. Paul Rudd is just such a likable character. I mean, he's honestly up there with just as likable as Chris Pratt, almost. Chris Pratt.
I'd say Chris Pratt's a little bit higher, but
yeah, but I mean, Paul Rudd's almost up there. I mean, basically anything he says he's just such a likable character, and so a lot of the comedy does work with him. And then the relationship between Ant-Man and the Wasp is definitely one of the biggest positives. Especially like they have a lot of good fight moves together, but I just buy it so much that they're actually characters in this world, like especially Hank, Hope, and Ant-Man. It's like it's so believable, and then the CGI is amazing.
Yeah, there's no bad CGI. Everything looks really real.
The action was good in my opinion, but it wasn't great. It wasn't on the scale of Avengers action, like certain moments. I just didn't think the action was that great.
As far as memorable scenes, I guess.
Yeah, because, I mean, that was the other thing. Trailers, it's my fault for watching trailers, but they did show, in my opinion, too much in the trailers. But what are some, should we get into our negatives or more positive?
You do negatives, and then just when we talk more freely in the spoiler section.
Yeah. I guess negatives, it did kind of drag at parts. I don't know if you agree with that. In my opinion, it dragged a little bit in different parts, and at certain parts, I mean, the comedy did land for most of the time, but I think sometimes it didn't.
There's just a lot. It's like there's a lot of humor, so it's hard for everything to land. So the fact that most of the stuff landed was a major positive, just because there's so much comedy being thrown out there that really, there wasn't any bad jokes. There's a lot of good moments that we can't really talk about now in the non-spoiler section of this video. But
I can't say jokes not landing. I won't count that. I'm not counting that as a negative.
No.
I shouldn't even have said that. But just because a joke doesn't land, that doesn't mean it's a negative for me. But another thing is, I feel like sometimes there's way too much going on, and I do feel sometimes it gets a little repetitive with certain stuff that happens I can't get into until spoilers. Where something keeps happening, and then something happens again, and I'll have to get into that in spoilers.
one negative for me It's just the storyline. I mean, it was just, you knew what it was. Like, they were trying to get Hope's mom, Hank Pym's wife, out of the quantum realm. So basically, it's just the whole movie is basically them just trying to get this piece that's gonna help finalize the quantum portal to get into there. And there's someone else you see in the trailers, the villain Ghost. You see in the trailers, and she's going after the same thing because she's trying to do something to help herself out. And I just feel like, I don't know, it's the storyline just wasn't really like that emotional. Like that's why I liked the first Ant-Man more, is because the storyline was just there was more characters that I liked. I mean, I liked the villain more in that movie, but
and also, the other thing you said that there's no stakes. That's one of your negatives, right?
The stakes just didn't. It's just this. I could say more in the spoiler section, but just like the stakes, the whole time I didn't really feel like anyone was in that much danger. That's why when he was near his daughter in that first Ant-Man, like that was a stake there. Like he was gonna hurt his daughter. That was a reason for him to fight. Like there was more emotion there.
There's stakes.
I mean, obviously the daughter's in this one too. So I mean, there is stakes for one character.
Yeah,
and I feel like one other negative for me would be, in the grander scheme of things, like you see Thor's trilogy, Captain America's trilogy, like each one the character grows by a lot, and like they're evolving as a character, and I feel like Ant-Man doesn't. He's the same guy that he was in Ant-Man that he is now. Like he's not like there's no major change there. Like because like if there's a trilogy of Ant-Man films, which they're obviously trying to do, like the first one you can tell he was like he was an ex-con, so like he's bad. He was just like breaking into stuff. So I guess he did evolve from that, but he's still the same kind of guy a little bit. So I feel like I was hoping for more of a character evolution in this movie. Really, that's just kind of a nitpick. But I definitely thought it wasn't. I didn't think it was long. I thought it was pretty short. Even though I think runtime was 2 hours and
4 minutes.
4 minutes. So definitely a good runtime. I didn't feel bored at all. So there was, I mean,
for me it was slow.
I didn't really feel any. I'm usually into movies, so it takes a while to get me out of the movie. So I didn't think it was any too many slow parts. But as far as what my expectations were going in, it met everything that I was expecting and what I was really hoping for in this kind of movie. So a score I'd have to give this movie is I'd probably have to give Ant-Man and the Wasp an 8 out of 10, which is obviously 9 out of 10 is something I would like to see over and over and over again. And I definitely enjoyed this movie. There was a lot of good moments, not many memorable moments, but there was nothing bad. There was nothing in it that I did not like. There's just not much stuff that I loved a lot. So yeah, I would have to give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, and I'd have to give it an 8 out of 10 as well, because there's a lot of good things here. Like some of the comedy really worked. The CGI is great, but certain parts kind of feels lazy. Certain parts there's not really that many stakes, and then I don't know, an 8 out of 10 is still good. I still walked out of this movie happy. There's a lot of good moments to be had. The CGI is amazing.
I mean, 5 is average.
Good. Yeah.
So the fact that it's 3 above 5.
I mean, for me though, that's probably different for me. And 7 or 8 is pretty average for me. But there's a lot of good things to be had here, and I am really excited still to see where they go with this movie, even though it is complicated.
It was a good addition to the universe, continuing a bigger storyline behind all of this.
Yeah, the characters are amazing. The CGI is amazing.
This is what I like the most. Yeah, there was some good characters. I like seeing the Wasp actually added, like being able to fight. It's cool to see Hank. I like that. I liked his character. So yeah, so that was our non-spoiler review of Ant-Man and the Wasp. I gave it an 8 out of 10. Kenny gave it an 8 out of 10. See you in the spoiler section. Bye guys.